If you've been keeping up with the news about CPUs, then you should know about the two big types in the market right now, which is ARM and x86. While both of them are CPU architectures, there are some key differences that you might need to know in order to understand the ongoing battle between them both. Who will win? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, my name's Mike, and here at SABRENT we love to make and talk tech. So if that's what you're into, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can stay updated. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is basically the brain of your system. It's a complex chip with special instructions that are given to control aspects of your hardware, which are also known as the instruction set. They basically tell the processor to move data between register and memory, or to perform a specific action. As you would expect, each unique CPU hardware block requires a different set of instructions, and the amount of instructions the CPU can process at the same time depends on how powerful that CPU is. Now that we understand what a CPU architecture is and how it affects the speed and power of your device, let's look at the ARM-based CPUs versus x86 CPUs. The one fundamental difference between ARM and x86 is the approach towards CPU design. ARM's philosophy is focused on lowering power consumption while maintaining performance levels, whereas x86 prefers to offer higher performing hardware at the cost of power efficiency at the consumer level, as well as obviously support for legacy protocols. ARM uses the RISC architecture, which stands for Reduced Instruction Set Computing. This uses a limited number of instructions that can be executed in one cycle. As such, it has an easy to use instruction set with simple commands for efficient processing speeds. Intel's x86 architecture uses CISC, or Complex Instruction Set Computing, which is all about decreasing the number of instructions while simultaneously ignoring the number of cycles per instruction. The goal is to build all the complex instructions straight into the hardware, because that is essentially faster than software. While CISC does use more complex instructions, the number of instructions are few in number. However, the complexity of these instructions cause it to be slower than RISC and consume significantly more power in order to process and decode these complex tasks. The whole model is built in such a way that is meant to lower the instruction execution time by simply decreasing the number of instructions. This will mean that each instruction cycle will need only one clock cycle and will have three main goals: fetch, decode, and execute. The interesting thing about RISC processing is that it actually performs complex instructions by combining many simple instructions. There are many differences in needs of the users, and this has made both architectures successful in their own right. ARM's low-powered approach is well combined with small devices like smartphones, while x86 CPU architectures are incredible when it comes to the processing power and are great for high-end tasks. However, this is all changing with Apple's approach to ARM chips in their new computers. Now, you may not have known, but ARM is actually a company, and they don't actually manufacture their own CPUs. They simply sell licenses. They license the design out to other companies that want to make their own CPUs. Apple is one such company, and this is why Apple silicon chips are so powerful, because Apple is in charge of the manufacturing and modifying of their design, which means that they can fully customize the chip to work efficiently on their devices. Apple is currently on their last leg of their roadmap to completely replace all of their Intel-based devices to their ARM-based silicon. This was pretty surprising at first, as everyone thought ARM-based processors could only really handle day-to-day tasks and not the intensive workload tasks like the Intel computers used to do. However, the performance we've been seeing from Apple's M1, M1 Pro, and M1 Max chips, and the newly announced M1 Ultra chips have only gone to show that allowing companies to design their own chips can bring out incredible results for both power and efficiency. These high-performance ARM chips have shown that they are capable of taking on x86 and Intel and AMD on even the most demanding computing scenarios. Even Google have been designing their own ARM-based chips for their smartphones, which has shown to be really powerful. This is in part because ARM is designed as an SoC or system on chip. Unlike x86 chips, where the memory and graphics are connected to the chip via a board, ARM chips have it all integrated into the chip itself. There are two major benefits of doing it this way. Firstly, the connection between all of these parts are much faster than connecting all of the RAM and graphics modules on a board. And secondly, and most obvious, is that it provides a much smaller package. ARM has been underestimated for many years, regulated to just smartphones and small applications. However, with supercomputers like the Fujitsu A64FX and Apple's M1 series of chips, it has shown how powerful ARM can be. More and more companies are designing their own chips as processing power per watt is becoming more and more important. Amazon Web Services, which provides servers to companies like Netflix, Twitch and Twitter, have designed their own ARM chips for their servers, which is called the Graviton. This is showing the shift in the tech market, where devices are now switching from these classic AMD and Intel chips over to these ARM-based computers. Now, one of the major downsides to this will be the fact that because everything is system on the chip, there's going to be less upgradability in terms of after the fact you've bought it. So for example, this is an M1 MacBook Air with 8GB of RAM. However, if I wanted to upgrade the RAM in this particular computer, well, it's not possible. I'm going to have to buy a brand new computer with 16GB of RAM. Whereas on this computer, for example, it has a classic Intel chip. And because the manufacturer has allowed to have RAM slots in this particular computer, I'm able to upgrade the RAM on this particular system. So even though ARM does provide all of this processing power compared to x86 chips, the problem is the upgradability of these chips, which may deter some users. For people who are not tech geeks and nerds like us, ARM and x86 are basically two sides of the same coin. Both chips can handle basically the same workloads, albeit at different power outputs. Now, thanks to the popularity of Apple's M1 processor units, it has shown that ARM can really fight with the big boys when it comes to architectures. Now, most applications are designed to work on either ARM or x86 efficiently. However, one, like I said, does run more efficiently than the other, which is why many believe that ARM will be the future of computing and will remain the architecture of choice for the smartphone industry and basically for the foreseeable future. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to smash that like button and also hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you can stay updated with more content like this. Anyway, look after yourselves and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.